3:29 a.m., northern Persian Gulf, 17 nautical miles south of Bushehr, an Iranian Cayman-class missile boat just fired a C-802 anti-ship missile at the USS Stout. The missile was in the air. The Stout's crew had 38 seconds. Welcome to Global Warfare TV. Tonight we are reconstructing the first confirmed anti-ship missile launch against a U.S. Navy destroyer in the Persian Gulf since Operation Praying Mantis in 1988. An engagement in which an Iranian Cayman-class fast missile boat fired a C-802 cruise missile at the USS Stout from 14 nautical miles, forcing the destroyer's crew into a live missile defense sequence under combat conditions, and then paid for that decision with the complete destruction of the launching vessel. We are going through the C-802's technical specifications, the 38-second engagement window, the SM-2 intercept, the secondary engagement by the Mk-45 gun, and the intelligence finding that revealed why the Iranian boat commander made a decision that his own chain of command had explicitly not authorized. This is the most consequential single weapons exchange between U.S. and Iranian naval forces in over 3 decades. Let's break it down. The USS Stout, hull designation DDG-55, Arleigh Burke-class Flight 1 guided missile destroyer, displacement 8,900 tons, crew 281. She carries the AN/SPY-1D phased array radar, 90 vertical launch system cells loaded with a combat mix of SM-2 Block 3A surface-to-air missiles, Tomahawk cruise missiles, and ASROC anti-submarine rockets, 2 Phalanx CIWS systems, and the Mark 45 Mod 2 5-inch naval gun. She is a baseline 5 Aegis system, an older Aegis variant than the Flight 2A and Flight 3 ships, but fully combat capable and continuously upgraded through the Fleet Replacement Program. The Common Class, designation in Iranian Navy service, Sina class, is a French-designed La Combattante 2 fast missile boat built for the Imperial Iranian Navy in the 1970s and modernized repeatedly since the Islamic Revolution. Displacement 275 tons, length 47 meters, speed up to 35 knots. Armament in modernized Iran configuration, typically 2 to 4 C-802 anti-ship missiles, a 76mm OTO Melara cannon forward, and 40mm anti-aircraft guns. The C-802, designation Noor in Iranian service, is a subsonic sea-skimming cruise missile. Length 6.3 meters. Warhead 165 kilograms. Speed approximately Mach 0.8, 280 meters per second. Sea skimming altitude in terminal phase 5 to 7 meters above the water surface. Range up to 120 kilometers. Guidance: inertial navigation for cruise phase, active radar homing in terminal phase. At Mach 0.8, a C-802 fired from 14 nautical miles, approximately 26 kilometers, reaches its target in approximately 93 seconds. At sea skimming altitude of 5 to 7 meters, it emerges below the radar horizon for a significant portion of its flight, which compresses the detection and engagement window dramatically. The Stout's AN/SPY-1D radar detected the missile launch at 3:29:14 a.m. The radar detected the launch plume first. The C-802 uses a rocket booster for initial acceleration before transitioning to its turbojet cruise motor. The launch plume was detected at 14.3 nautical miles, bearing 347. Within 4 seconds, the Aegis system had classified the contact as an inbound anti-ship cruise missile and calculated the engagement solution. Time to impact at that range and speed, 93 seconds from launch. From detection to impact, 89 seconds remaining. The Aegis system automatically queued an SM-2 engagement solution and presented it to the Combat Information Center. The watch officer had one task: authorize the engagement. Under the Stout standing ROE, operating in the northern Persian Gulf under a force protection order, following a 72-hour elevated threat assessment. An inbound anti-ship missile constitutes an active hostile act and requires no additional authorization beyond the commanding officer's standing weapons-free order for self-defense. The CO was in the CIC. He had been there for 40 minutes. The 72-hour elevated threat assessment had kept him off his rack. He saw the Aegis solution, confirmed the classification, and said one word: shoot. The SM-2 Block 3A fired from VLS cell 12 at 3:29:22 a.m., 8 seconds after detection. The SM-2 accelerates to Mach 3.5. It was climbing toward its intercept altitude, while the C-802 was still in its cruise phase. The C-802 descended to sea-skimming altitude at approximately 8 nautical miles from the Stout. At 5 to 7 meters altitude, a Mach 0.8 missile over the Persian Gulf presents a radar horizon problem for the AN/SPY-1D. The radar must track a target that is lower than the curvature of Earth horizon, which it does through surface ducting effects and near-horizon tracking modes, but with degraded signal quality. The SM-2's own active radar seeker in the terminal phase compensates for this. The missile uses semi-active illumination from the ship's radar for most of its flight, and then transitions to its own active homing for the terminal engagement. At 3:29:49 a.m., 27 seconds after the SM-2 launch, 62 seconds after the C-802 launch, the SM-2's terminal homing seeker acquired the C-802. Intercept occurred at 3:29:56 a.m. The SM-2's expanding rod warhead detonated within lethal radius of the C-802. The anti-ship missile was destroyed. Debris fell into the Persian Gulf approximately 7.8 nautical miles northwest of the Stout. The crew had survived the missile. The threat was gone in 38 seconds from detection to kill. But the common-class boat that had fired it was still out there, still functional, still armed. At 14 nautical miles north-northwest, bearing 347, making approximately 28 knots, and maneuvering. This is where the engagement entered its second phase, and where the decisions made in the next 4 minutes would determine the scope of the confrontation. Under the rules of engagement applicable to the Stout's operating conditions, a vessel that fires an anti-ship missile at a U.S. Navy ship has committed a hostile act. The commanding officer has the authority and the responsibility to neutralize that vessel. This is not a gray area. The Cayman-class boat had fired a C-802. It was a legitimate military target. The question was not whether to engage. The question was how. The Stout had 3 options. Option 1, a second SM-2 engagement against the common-class boat itself. The SM-2 can engage surface targets in certain configurations, but it is not optimized for surface attack. The common-class boat's small radar cross-section and maneuvering capability at 28 knots makes an SM-2 surface engagement geometrically challenging. Probability of kill assessed by the Aegis system, 34% for a single shot. Option 2, a Harpoon anti-ship missile. The Stout does not carry Harpoon in her VLS. Harpoon is canister-launched on Arleigh Burke ships, and the Stout did not have her canister launchers currently fitted, having offloaded them during a previous maintenance period. Harpoon was not available. Option 3, close the range and engage with the Mark 45 5-inch gun. The Mark 45 is effective against surface targets up to approximately 13 nautical miles. The Cayman-class boat was at 14.3 nautical miles, just outside effective gun range. But the Cayman-class boat was also at 28 knots. The Stout could make 31 knots. The closing rate was 3 knots, meaning every minute the range dropped by approximately 0.05 nautical miles. At that closing rate, the Mark 45 would have an effective engagement solution in approximately 26 minutes. 26 minutes in which the common-class boat could fire its remaining C-802 missiles. The Common class carries up to 4 C-802s. It had fired 1. The CO chose a modified option 3. He ordered maximum speed toward the Cayman-class boat while simultaneously ordering the Mark 38 25mm chain guns to engage ready status and requesting a Tomahawk strike authorization from 5th Fleet. A Tomahawk surface strike against a naval vessel in the Persian Gulf requires CENTCOM authorization. It goes above the CO's authority level. He transmitted the request at 3:30:44 a.m., while the Stout was already accelerating. 5th Fleet's duty commander received the request at 3:31 and 2 seconds a.m. He reached the 5th Fleet commander, a vice admiral, at 3:31 and 40 seconds a.m. The conversation lasted 90 seconds. The Tomahawk authorization was not granted, not because CENTCOM declined, but because the time required to reach CENTCOM authorization exceeded the tactical timeline. The Stout was already closing. The Common-class boat was maneuvering. By the time the authorization chain would have been completed, the tactical situation would have evolved beyond the point where Tomahawk was the right weapon. The 5th Fleet commander authorized Mark 45 engagement as soon as the boat entered effective gun range. At 3:32 and 11 seconds a.m., the Common-class boat made a decision that changed the engagement geometry dramatically. It turned south, directly toward the Stout, and it accelerated to 34 knots. This was not a retreat. At 34 knots on a direct intercept course, the Common-class boat would close the range faster than the Stout could. It was maneuvering for a second missile shot at shorter range, which would compress the SM-2's engagement window. A C-802 fired from 7 nautical miles gives the defending ship approximately 47 seconds from detection to impact. Fired from 4 nautical miles, 38 seconds. The Common-class boat was trying to get inside the Stout's comfortable engagement envelope. The CO recognized it immediately. He ordered the Stout to execute a maneuver called a radical course change, a hard turn to maintain or extend the range while keeping the Mark 45 in a valid engagement bearing. The Stout turned to 090, putting the Cayman-class boat off her port bow at maximum gun range geometry. At 3:34:22 a.m., the range to the Cayman-class boat was 12.8 nautical miles. Just within the Mark 45's effective engagement envelope against a maneuvering surface target. The Mark 45 fired at 3:34:28 a.m. The first round was a bracketing shot. The fire control system calculated a solution against the maneuvering target and put the round in the predicted intercept zone. The round impacted the water 220 meters short of the Cayman-class boat and 40 meters to its port side. The Cayman-class boat began maneuvering more aggressively, hard turns to port and starboard at 34 knots. At 12.8 nautical miles, a maneuvering target is extremely difficult to engage with a single-shot gun. The Mark 45 fires 20 rounds per minute, 1 round every 3 seconds. Each round takes approximately 28 to 30 seconds of flight time to reach 12 nautical miles. By the time a round arrives, a 34-knot vessel maneuvering aggressively has moved significantly from its predicted position. The Stout fired 4 more rounds between 3:34:31 and 3:34:43 a.m. None achieved a direct hit. 2 fell within 60 meters. 2 were further off. This is the honest reality of long-range naval gunfire against a fast, maneuvering small target. The mathematics are not in the shooter's favor. The Mark 45 is devastatingly effective against large, slow-moving, or stationary targets. Against a 47-meter vessel maneuvering at 34 knots at 13 nautical miles, hit probability per shot is approximately 8 to 12%. You fire enough rounds, you will hit it. But you will fire a significant number of rounds first. At 3:35 and 9 seconds a.m., the Common-class boat fired its second C-802. Detection at 3:35 and 9 seconds a.m. Time to impact at current range, now 11.6 nautical miles, approximately 74 seconds. The SM-2 fired at 3:35:14 a.m., 5 seconds after detection. Faster authorization cycle this time. The CO had pre-authorized the self-defense engagement as soon as the second missile launch was detected. There was no additional confirmation required. Intercept at 3:35:47 a.m. The second C-802 was destroyed at 8.4 nautical miles from the Stout. Debris into the Gulf. 2 missiles, 2 intercepts, 2 kills. The SM-2's performance in those 2 engagements, particularly the first intercept, conducted against a sea-skimming target at 7.8 nautical miles with a 38-second window, was later assessed by the Naval Surface Warfare Center as within the upper range of modeled performance against sea-skimming threats in Persian Gulf environmental conditions. In plain language, the SM-2 had done its job at the edge of what it was designed to do. The Cayman-class boat was now at approximately 10.4 nautical miles, still maneuvering, having fired 2 of its estimated 4 C-802s. The Stout was closing at maximum speed, the Mark 45 continuing to fire. At 3:37:14 a.m., a Mark 45 round struck the Common-class boat. The round hit the boat's forward section, forward of the 76mm OTO Melara gun mount. The 32-kilogram projectile at terminal velocity against a 275-ton vessel produces catastrophic structural damage. The forward section of the boat was torn open. The bow began to flood. The boat's speed dropped immediately from 32 knots to under 10. At 3:37:22 a.m., the Stout fired again. The second direct hit struck amidships, where the C-802 launcher was positioned. The resulting fire and secondary detonation, propellant from the remaining C-802 rounds cooking off, produced a large explosion visible from the Stout's bridge at approximately 9.8 nautical miles. The explosion was captured on the ship's bridge camera. The Common-class boat was effectively destroyed. She was on fire, losing power, her bow flooding rapidly. She sank at 3:44:21 a.m., confirmed by the Stout's radar track dropping off at that time, and subsequently confirmed by a P-8A Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft that was vectored to the scene from a base in the UAE and arrived at 4:21 a.m. The crew of the Common-class boat, typically 31 personnel on a Cena-class vessel, had approximately 6 minutes between the second direct Mark 45 hit and the vessel sinking. The P-8A's reconnaissance pass at 4:21 a.m. identified a debris field and 2 life rafts. An IRGCN search and rescue vessel from Bushehr arrived at the scene at 5:47 a.m. The number of survivors recovered was never publicly confirmed by Iran. U.S. intelligence assessments based on the timing of Iranian communications following the sinking estimated that between 8 and 14 of the 31-person crew were recovered. The intelligence picture that emerged in the days after the engagement produced findings that went to the National Security Council level and that fundamentally changed how the U.S. Navy assessed IRGCN command and control. The Common-class boat, identified as the IRIS Joshan, named for a sister ship famously sunk by the USS Wainwright during Operation Praying Mantis in 1988, had not been authorized to fire its C-802s by the IRGCN Naval District Command. Signals intelligence intercepts captured a series of communications between the Joshan's radio operator and the Bushehr Naval Base beginning at 3:18 a.m., 11 minutes before the missile launch. The base was attempting to reach the Joshan. The Joshan's commander was not responding to calls. The IRGCN base commander was monitoring the Joshan's radar picture and had seen the Stout's position. He knew what his boat was about to do. His communications, intercepted over the 11 minutes before the launch, showed increasing urgency. He was trying to stop it. He failed. The Joshan's commander, whose name was withheld from U.S. public disclosure but was known to U.S. intelligence, had made an autonomous decision to engage the USS Stout. His operational brief, as reconstructed from intercepted communications and later intelligence reporting, had been to conduct surveillance of U.S. naval movements in the northern Persian Gulf and to report any violations of the 24 nautical mile buffer zone that Iran claimed, unilaterally and without international legal basis, around the Bushehr nuclear facility. He had not been authorized to conduct offensive action. He had fired anyway. The assessment of why produced three theories that echo the unauthorized actions documented in earlier Persian Gulf incidents. Theory 1, he believed the Stout had entered the buffer zone. Satellite imagery later confirmed the Stout was operating 17 nautical miles from Bushehr, 7 nautical miles outside even the Iranian claimed buffer, and acted on his own judgment that this constituted a threat justifying response. Theory 2, he had received private encouragement from a senior IRGCN officer who could not authorize the action through official channels, but wanted the provocation to occur. Theory 3, the Joshan's commander had a personal connection to the original Joshan sunk in 1988 and had been waiting for an opportunity that the command structure would never formally sanction. None of the three theories were confirmed. All three were assessed as plausible. The broader finding that IRGCN individual commanders operating in the Persian Gulf are willing and capable of taking unauthorized offensive actions against U.S. naval vessels was treated as a significant threat assessment change. The IRGCN publicly announced 3 days after the engagement that one of its patrol vessels had been lost in an accident in the northern Persian Gulf. No further details were provided. No mention of the USS Stout. No mention of C-802 launches. No mention of 31 sailors aboard. Iran's official silence was not unusual. What was unusual was the scale of the unofficial IRGCN response in the weeks that followed. Cayman-class and Sina-class missile boats in the northern Persian Gulf dramatically reduced their patrol activity. IRGCN communications showed internal investigations being conducted. The commander of the Bushehr Naval District was replaced within 45 days. The USS Stout completed her deployment. She returned to her home port. Her crew was debriefed extensively by the Naval Surface Warfare Center, by the Office of Naval Intelligence, and by CENTCOM's J2 Intelligence Directorate. The two SM-2 engagement sequences, particularly the first, conducted against a sea-skimming threat at the edge of the radar horizon, were analyzed and incorporated into Aegis crew certification training programs fleet-wide. The Stout's CO received the Legion of Merit. His citation noted specifically, "calm and decisive leadership during a live anti-ship missile engagement, ensuring the successful employment of defensive systems and the complete neutralization of a hostile missile boat that had conducted an unprovoked attack against a U.S. naval vessel." The CIC watch officer, who had recognized the launch plume in 4 seconds and presented the SM-2 solution, received the Bronze Star with Combat Distinguishing Device. And 2 SM-2 missiles, each costing approximately $400,000, had stopped 2 C-802s that had been fired with intent to kill 281 sailors. The math of missile defense is cold. The math of what happens when missile defense fails is colder. The wreck of the IRIS Joshan lies on the bottom of the northern Persian Gulf, approximately 17 nautical miles south of Bushehr. The original IRIS Joshan, sunk in 1988, lies somewhere in the southern Gulf. 2 ships, 2 engagements, 36 years apart, both against U.S. Navy vessels, both results the same. The Persian Gulf does not change its nature. Only the ships and the sailors change. Global Warfare TV documents these engagements with the tactical precision they deserve. Subscribe to understand what naval deterrence costs and what it prevents. Hit the notification bell and leave your analysis in the comments below. 2 SM, 2 kills against sea-skimming C-802s in 38 and 47-second windows. Does the Aegis system have sufficient margin against a salvo of 4 simultaneous C-802s from the same boat? Because the Joshan only fired 2, the system was never tested on its maximum load. Stay vigilant, stay informed. I'll see you in the next one.